Welcome back to Easy Health and Fitness, Torah Health and Fitness. A rare Shabbos where we are going to experience Balein L'Tova, Parshas Shmini. How often does Parshas Shmini occur? Not only before Pesach, but still in Adar. It's rare, isn't it? Oh, you want to say it happens every time we add an Adar. Okay, but that's only 7 times out of 19 years. That's less than half. I call that rare. It's been already a couple of years since we had Parshas Shmini before Pesach and even in Adar. And I think that's an opportunity to appreciate a detail of the Torah that is vital to our mitzvah of Shmiras Haguf, and vital to our health, and vital to our holiness, and vital to this whole message that I've been saying the last few sessions about Adar and the unity of Nefesh V'Guf, the unity of body and soul that we try to achieve on Purim, and now we can maintain that. And as we get towards the end of Adar and we go into Nisan and approaching Pesach, we can still hold on to that. We can build on that, not lose that. And this is an opportunity. What am I talking about? Here we have in this Parsha, Shmini, the Jewish people have built the Mishkan, and we have made all the vestments for the Kohanim. And Moshe Rabbeinu has trained Aaron and his sons how to do the avoda in the Mishkan. And Moshe Rabbeinu did it himself as a dry run, showing them how to do it. And now Aaron is on. This is his moment. Aaron and his sons, this is their first time in enacting, putting into action, putting into place, firing it up, revving it up, so to speak. We've had a test drive. We've had all the testing went on. We had all the government regulations went in, the regulators, to make sure everything was safe, that there was no bolts missing, that there was no doors were going to fly off midair. Everything's been checked, double checked, cleaned. Cleaning crews came in, make sure there was no one had left their tissues, no workers had left their tissues out, or beer cans, or vodka cans, whatever these workers leave, their cigarette packs, all been cleaned out. The Mishkan is ready to be used. Aaron does the avoda with great concentration, and fire comes from Shemayim, or from the Kodesh Kodashim, and consumes the avoda. How does that feel? How does that feel? If you're the Jewish people standing there at that moment, watching this, the Torah tells us, everyone fell on their face in joyous song. It was a wonderful moment. Think about the Achdus that was there, the unity of the Jewish people, and the unity of the Jewish people not only between themselves, among ourselves, but also with Kadosh Baruch Hu. We were all together. It was a fantastic moment. Maybe one of the most glorious moments in all of Jewish history. Now, if you were writing the Torah, what's your next chapter after that? You have this moment of incredible elevation. What's going to be the next chapter? Well, how do you go? How do you go from there to something else? This is the highest moment. Anything else would be downhill, right? I don't know about you, but I think I'd look for something to come next that would maintain that level of kedusha in the mind and hearts of those who are learning the Torah. Maybe Shema Yisrael. The Shema Yisrael, which is in Sefer Devarim, maybe I wouldn't wait for Moshe Rabbeinu to put it in Sefer Devarim. I'd put it right here, right after the first avoda. Can you imagine Moshe Rabbeinu standing up in front of everybody saying, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad? That would be appropriate, and we wouldn't blink an eye. But that's not what the Torah does. The very next chapter after this glorious avoda, the first avoda of Aaron, is telling us what animals are kosher and what are not kosher. What animals, what fish, what birds, etc. Very interesting. Very interesting that the Torah does that. Apparently, what we eat is a very fundamental, important idea in our Kedusha, in our Avodas Hashem, more than maybe we think about all the time. Sometimes we just can go to the grocery store and we have nowadays a grocery store where basically everything in the store is kosher, you don't even have to look at the label. You know, or if you're used to buying something that you know this brand is kosher, so you don't even have to look at the label. You just buy it. You don't have to think about it. I'd like to share with you a comment from Rabbi Eli Monk, not on this parsha. Actually, it says this on Parshas Mishpatim, but because that's the first place where we see kedusha and achila and eating connected. He does it over there, and he says the dietary laws are blended with a network of related precepts that raise and ennoble the instinct of nutrition by surrounding it in an atmosphere of serene purity. This harmonious framework applies to every ounce that a man drinks, to every morsel he consumes, and to each flower he smells. In everything, man must remember Hashem and say a fervent blessing to him. Likewise, the Jewish woman attending to her household work encounters at every step a religious commandment, a holy duty, and her thoughts are uplifted and made holy. The Jew is continuously reminded of his duty and of his nobility stemming from his position on the ladder of creation. Even in the midst of rejoicing, the Jew may not gorge himself at the table or let himself be drawn into degrading drunkenness, for he knows that after the meal he must raise his voice in a song of praise to Hashem. Thus the ritual laws ennoble the life of the Jew and bring a special fragrance of holiness into his home. And then he adds that the Rambam asserts that the dietary laws teach the Jew to control his instincts. They accustom him to curb greediness and restrain his natural tendencies to seek selfish pleasure. Consequently, he will not make his appetite for food and drink his ultimate aim. That's from the guide. Now, with that in mind, we spoke last time about the problem of appetite and hunger and the problem of taiva. You know, there's a reason why it's easier to gain weight than to lose weight. The reason it's easier to gain weight than to lose weight is because we have taivas and the ability to eat easily to eat more calories than we need. But we don't have a taiva to undereat, most of us. Most of the time, it's a taiva to overeat. And that requires serious control. There's something else we need to remember, which is that the hormones that signal hunger and satiety are designed to maintain our current weight. So if a person, let's say, wants to lose 10 pounds, you should know that you're going to naturally be hungry to the degree that it takes to maintain those 10 pounds and not to lose them. The only way you're going to lose those 10 pounds is if you override that signal with your brain. That means you do a cheshbon. Whether you're doing the cheshbon on paper or not, a cheshbon is the only way to do it. And experience has proven that as smart as we are, it's almost impossible to do this by estimation. When people estimate how much they're eating, they're almost always wrong. If you don't keep a written record, you're likely to fail. Now, a written record on a daily basis is pretty easy, but what do you do about Shabbos? There is this myth, and maybe you heard this before, Shabbos calories don't count. Or I've heard this at Simchas too. You know, I'm out of chasana, so it's a mitzvah to eat the food, so the calories don't count. In terms of weight control or weight loss, they do count, absolutely. But it's easier to control than you think as long as you do a cheshbon. The problem is you can't do a cheshbon on Shabbos, so what do you do? So in the Sefer, Body and Soul, which I mentioned I think once or twice in the past, we put on page 113 a customized Shabbos calorie table of the most common foods consumed on Shabbos, starting with the Friday night meal, including potential Shalom Zachar, Kiddush in the morning, Shabbos day meal, Shalosh Sudos, the third meal, Motzei Shabbos, Havdalah, and Malav Malka. You do that cheshbon, you can try this on Motzei Shabbos, and you will see how much they actually do count. They do add up. Now, I have a special treat for you. Because you're a dedicated listener or viewer of this series, we created just this week a Microsoft Excel table on the computer It's the exact table here of the Shabbos calories, but all the computations are automated. So for example, it says here, wine or grape juice, 1 cup is 100 calories. All you have to do is put in the number of cups you had, and it will do the calculation. Challah, it tells you put in the number of slices you ate, if you had shots of l'chaim, if you had bowls of cholent, you just put in the number of servings, and the table will automatically compute for you the total calories. It's very interesting. I tried it out myself for the first time, gave it a test drive, and it was eye-opening how many calories to eat. And what's neat about it is then you could play around with it, and you could say, well, what if I cut out, go from 2 bowls of cholent, or 3 bowls of cholent, or 4 bowls of cholent? What if I go down from 4 to 3, or 3 to 2, or 2 to 1? How does that impact the total? And you can play around. What if I go from 6 slices of challah down to 3? And you can see how that impacts your total count. And by getting that information, even if you did it one time, that will make you a smarter, more mindful, and ultimately healthier, and ultimately holier eater next time around. So if you'd like to use this new tool, no charge, just contact me, send me an email. The contact info is on the Torah Anytime page, or on our website, or you can send an email to seinfeld@jsli.org or info@jsli.org. Looking forward to hearing from you. Wishing you a Shabbos Mevarchim and a Shabbos Parshas Shmini that is good and healthy and holy. And until next, and I won't see you probably until Rosh Chodesh, so you should have a Chodesh Tov. And until next time, be gesund.